Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Code Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The reflection is the composition of the fifth Nanak, Gur Arjan, in Rag Sorat Dutuke, two-lined verse. The recitation from the top. Sorat Mahalla Panjama Dutuke, Jau Lau Bhau Abhau, a-sabad-a-day, Lau Milan Durai, Aane apna kart bichara, Lau beech bikhai. The quick translation here is, so long as Joto, attraction and repulsion, holds the mind, Bhau Abhau a-sabad-a-day, till then, Lau union remains afar. Lau milan durai, it's far away. If mine and not mine prevails in thought, an apana karat bichara, then the wall of separation will persist. Lau beech bikhai. The Sabbath is rich in psychological insight. These are psychological states that the Guru is speaking about. If we were to think about this in terms of psychology today, so there is an interior duality that the Guru is talking about, simultaneously entertaining love and aversion. This reflects a split consciousness that is torn between attachment and avoidance, devotion versus egoic autonomy, the double-minded self, if you will, and then mine and not mine. This is the ego's most basic activity: division, boundary making, possessiveness. The ego constructs its identity through what belongs to me and what threatens me. This is essentially ego-bound identity formation. So to counter all of this psychological fragmentation is service to the sad, immersion in satsang, surrender, remembrance. So the first verse has already mapped out part of the inner conflict, and it seeks a diagnosis and cure. And that you find in the Rahau. Madhave aisi deho bujhai, sevon sad gaho ot charana nah bisare mahat rasai. So give me the insight, O Madhav, O beloved. This is an epithet for Krishna, but used for the absolute here in Gurbani. Please give me the insight. To serve the perfected one, sevon sad, and gaho ot charana, to dig deep into their wisdom. This is like data mining. You have to extract it. You have to go deep, and so that I never forget. Na bisara. Mahat chase. Chase is a blink of an eye. Mahat is the great one in this context. So the question is, the sad. It is not a title or a clerical position, but a spiritual state. So a sad could be a realized being, a gurmukh, one who lives immersed in Naam. So they can be living people, but their distinguishing trait is not religious garb or prestige. Their distinguishing trait is complete ego transcendence, embodying wisdom, and a radiant stillness that awakens others. So a sad could be an embodied person, but it is also an inner state of being. As in Man Tu Jot Swaroop Hai, refers to an awakened self. But where do we find this? You find it in sadhusanga. So service to the sadh is about orientation. It is not about hierarchy, because it teaches you humility, and the practice absorbs you into the rhythm of Nam, and you begin to let go of your ego. So serving the sadh means aligning yourself with the inner current of grace. So re man mugad achet chanchal chit tum aisi hriday na ai pran pat tyag aan tu rachya urjyo sang berai. Again, foolish, unmindful mind, ever restless. Why has this truth never occurred to you? You've abandoned the self, your essence, and fallen in love with a transient world, entangled with your enemy. So it's a rebuke to the distracted self, to the split self, calling out the mind's infatuation with what is passing. The divine, which is your true pranapat, the husband, has been abandoned. And the mind is chanchala chit achetana bisara. So you see, here again, restlessness, foolishness, unmindfulness, and forgetfulness are again psychological states of distraction, inner scattering, and an absence-centered awareness. This is the attention deficit that we suffer from. And then we project this onto the other. There is no inner enemy, so you misdirect it. Sog na byape, aap na thape, sadh sang buddh pai, sakat ka bakana eo jano jaise pavan chulai. Sorrow cannot touch the one who asserts no ego. Sog na byape, aap na thape. You do not assert your ego. And sadh sangha buddha pai. So we've talked about the sangha being the field of reorienting the mind to the mahat, which comes through the buddha, the intelligence. Sakat ka bakana. The words of the ego-oriented, they are like dust whipped up by wind. They're weightless, they're passing. They don't matter. Jaise pavan julai. So the contrast is being drawn between those who are rooted in Nam and those who are not. And in closing, Kot parad achhadyo eh man kehna kachu na jai, Jan Nanak deen saran ayo, prab sab lekha rakho uthai. So the mind is stained with countless sins. But what are these sins? These are exactly the unconscious, if you will. These are the unacknowledged parts of the psyche. It projects as error outside. That is what we call sin. And so the sabad concludes with a seeking. Nanak, your humble servant, seeks. Jana Nanak deen saran ayo, sanctuary, surrender. Prabha sab lekha rakho uthai, erase all accounts. In other words, may I not engage in identity formation, ego formation, as has been described in the previous verses. So when we do this sort of stuff, we are creating ego formation. We are looking for grace to lift the ledger, so to speak, the hope of liberation. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.